Welcome back to the Beginner's Guide. This is episode 7 and things look a little different, don't they? There's some railroad tracks. The hub is no longer there. What am I standing on? What's behind me? Oh boy. Holy crap. Well, let's go take a look at this. I think you might like this. I've been working on trying to figure out how to make the space elevator look cool, and I may have finally done it. Just ignore some of that glitching. I can't really fix that unless I bump the pillars in by one, but that's a lot of work, and I don't think I'm going to do it, so sometimes we're just going to have a little bit of flickering, but it's fine. So this is the space elevator building. And I made a circular building with a octagon on the bottom. With an octagon, my bad, sorry. And then I also did a train track all the way around it. I actually built the train track first and then I built this building, but you know, we'll just pretend that this was all done on purpose. So, this building has 4 entrances, one on every like north, south, east, west corner. So the entrance is over here, for example. And I had asked one of my friends, Grottles, for help on color choice, and she said black and yellow make it look like a bumblebee. So this is now the bee building. And then I did a little bit of white as well. But if you come in here, I got a ring of lights around the center. And the space elevator is right up the middle, which this is a really cool view. I like this. So now we can access the space elevator from inside a building. It looks epic. And then this bottom floor, I don't know what I want it to be yet. It can be just about anything. But I'll kind of take you on a tour of the floors so far. So we got elevators on every side, except for the diagonals. If we go to the second floor, there is a ton of storage crates. And this is going to be for a future episode. This is going to be an automatic sorting system. And like I said, that'll be a future episode. I'm just setting up the storage crates now because it'll be a pain to set it up later. I figured I might as well do it now. But yeah, all the levels are open. I can fall off. But you can see this is actually circling around. And then we got the octagon here. So they don't actually line up, which is kind of cool. I like that. And then if we go up another level, this upper level is going to be the hub. So the hub is up here. And I stuck it out a little bit so that this could take off and fly without hitting anything. And then I also angled these pillars. So it looks good now. And then I made a circular platform above that to kind of cap it off and make it the ceiling. And yeah, this building turned out really good, I think. I like it. I like it a lot. I have my sink. I have my awesome shop, which, by the way, my dogs have been giving me some really good stuff. So now I own everything except for these trophies. Everything is owned. Everything is bought. That's really nice. I can do anything I set my mind to. So, yeah, I just figured I'd show you that. Yeah, so we got a MAM up here. Which, by the way, I got a recipe I really wanted. This diluted package fuel is a really good recipe. I'm going to accept it now so I don't screw this up. But we're going to do a power plant using that recipe in a future episode. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be a really fun episode, I think. Yeah, so here's my hub, and then I have storage right here. But while we're here, we should really unlock the milestone that allows us to get more computers. So what we're wanting is this railway signaling milestone, but it requires computers. I don't have enough computers. Computers are in the industrial manufacturing milestone. So we gotta do this one. I have everything I need. And we can submit it.
Milestone.
So there's that. Now, once we build some computers, I can do the railway signaling, and we should be good to go. Now, let's take a train ride. So if we are on here, we can go around our tower in a circle. And you really get to see this. Ooh, that was close. I didn't want the lines clipping through the train, but that was really close. Yeah, here we are. This is the tower we circle around. And then we just need to turn directions so that we head towards the oil power plant. Oh, dang it. This was just a temporary thing. But now I have to go all the way around again. Dang it, man. Alright, let's see if I can do this right this time. So we go straight, and then let's just spam the left. Okay, we're good. We made it through. But yeah, that was just a turnaround, so I didn't have to go all the way to the oil power plant. And yeah, we'll just take a ride on this train, enjoy it, enjoy the scenery, kind of see where I took the train here. This was all blueprinted. I think it was pretty cool. The only part I didn't like was this right here, but it'll do. Yeah, that's the only part I didn't like. The rest of this was pretty good, though. And you can see the power towers kind of following the same path, but staying out of the way. Then we come over the water here. We drop down to a closer level. You can see the power towers over there. That one I don't like so much, but I'm just going to leave it. And yeah, we're at the oil power plant already. Or not the power plant, the plastic and rubber. But my goal here is to grab the plastic from here and bring it back to the hub. Because we are doing a mega factory, so everything needs to come back to the hub. That's my opinion. But I did want to show you this here. So I have this continuing around. And it does just end over there because we don't have any use for it yet. So it just ends over there. We'll figure it out later. But yeah, we are going to grab plastic from here because I'll show you what we actually need to do. If we put down a manufacturer, which this building is huge, by the way, and it takes 4 inputs, which is crazy. 4 inputs for 1 output. So this could get complicated. But if we take a look at this, we have a few things we can make. We can finally make the SAM fluctuators automatically. We can make crystal oscillators automatically finally. Holy crap. Computers, heavy modular frames, modular engines, adaptive control units. You can also make gas filters, and I might automatically make them, but that's a thing. So these are space elevator parts. We've already got enough versatile frameworks. We'll need to work on these pretty soon. Modular engines are a pain because it's motors and smart plating. It'll be fine, but they're just a pain. Adaptive control units are a bigger pain because it's 5 automated wiring, 5 circuit boards, heavy modular frames, computers. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of plastic. That's an insane amount of plastic. But we'll have to figure that out later. What we're interested in right now is computers. And computers is circuit boards, cables, plastic. We're making cables at our hub. We can make more. We might have to make more. But circuit boards are assemblers. We've been able to make these for a little bit now. The circuit boards is copper sheets and plastic. We're going to need quite a bit of plastic. So just to make 2.5 computers, we need 40 plastic. And just to make 7.5 circuit boards, which isn't even enough for the computer. So just to make 10 circuit boards, we need 40 plastic. So we need a total of 80 plastic. And if we take a look at what we're making, we're making 20 times 5. We're making 100. So that should tell you everything you need to know. We need to basically bring it all. We need to bring all but one. So I might as well give you an idea of how to handle this. We are just going to be grabbing from these first 4. This one will still go to the storage unit. It'll be fine. We have plenty of plastic as well, so this one will just go to the sink. Not a big deal. But let's just delete some of this. I'm going to leave that because that's pretty nice to have. We'll delete some of this. And I don't really care about that right now. So we want to ensure that we can reach here. So our best bet would be something like that. So if we can get a train station, if you go to transport, train station, I'm going to press H to lock it. The arrow will point which direction you want to go. We want to go this way because we can leave both directions. It's on the right side of the track because this one goes to the right side. Then this one goes to the right side as we head this way. That's what we want to do. We're building a train highway. I'm going to bump this back to here. And then we will connect up the railway. And that should be a pretty smooth transition right there. You'll see it says whatever the hell that means. I don't know what that is. But we can rename this whatever, so I'm just going to name it plastic. And there we go. So we're likely only going to need one freight platform because we're only bringing 80 plastic. We're not bringing a ton. So we want this freight platform. And you'll see we have 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So while you're here, we're gonna look in here. So if you look at it and press E, you can configure it. You can choose between unload and load. We're gonna want to load. We're gonna want to load the train. And now we take this here. And we should just be able to connect like that. And everything should go in. This does need power, so make sure you provide a power. And now everything should start loading in here. It does. Perfect. And we just need a way in now. Alright, so I set up some foundations here. If I grab my railway, I can try to snap it there and come out. And we can twist this if you use your scroll wheel. So I'll try to angle it more that way. So it's a nice smooth curve so far. And then from here, it should be really smooth. And it is. So sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes you can, if you've done it enough, you can feel it out. You know kind of where to go. And then I'm just going to delete those. And there we go. So now, all we need to do is set up a locomotive. And we're not too steep and we're not carrying a ton of cars, so one locomotive will be fine. And then we need a freight car, which if you just look behind it, it should just snap. And you can guarantee that it snaps when it looks like that. So now that this is powered, we can drive it. We're gonna have to drive back to our other place, but I do want to color this purple. Another thing we can do is if we open the train menu. Yes, if you open up the train menu, you can name your train. We'll name this the plastic train. So if you go into your map, it probably, oh yeah, it does. So plastic train. It'll show up on your map as plastic train. So now we'll head back to the first place, our hub. Okay, looks like we got a platform that we can get started on. Like I said, this is gonna have to expand over time, but this is what we got for now. We also need some space for the train station, so we should probably plan that out first. And I was thinking over here would be a pretty good spot. In fact, I need to expand this platform a little bit further. And we just need one spot, so each of these are 2 foundations long. I don't really care how wide they are right now, as long as I have enough space to turn around. So we'll probably go about here. And then we also know our freight platform is also 2 foundations long. So we'll go there. And then we'll color these the same exact thing. And here we'll say that these are computers. There we go. Okay, so there is a bug with trains where they highlight like that. Not a whole lot you can do with it right now. It's not a huge deal, but it is annoying. So, if it bothers you, there's not a whole lot you can do right now. They gotta fix it. There is something you can do, and that is pretend to dismantle it. So kind of just highlight over it with your dismantle, and it'll disappear. So that's what you can do to get rid of that highlight. And now it won't highlight anymore. So that's good. There's at least a workaround to it. But yeah, we got our next train station. We have to connect this to there. That'll be fun. I guess now is as good a time as any to show you how I connect these. So let me get up there and I'll show you how I set up the trains. Okay, so I have one junction right here. So I want to avoid this area for a junction. The next logical junction is going to be at this one here. Alright, so I want to come off of here. So we have to be able to connect this way, and we have to connect that way. What I need to do is I need to provide enough space to make this connection. And I need to angle it so that every connection works. So I'm going to put one down here at a 45. But I don't want it to be that direction. I kind of want it this way. So if I do it like that. Now is me holding control. If you're looking at the top of it or the bottom of it and you hold control, you can snap it to different directions. I wanted it that way. So I'm going to drag out a foundation like that. And now if I press F to dismantle mode and I press R to go to blueprint, I can middle mouse click right here and it'll give me my blueprint that I was looking at. So we don't need to blueprint auto connect or anything like that. We are just trying to set down the first one. And I will look at the edge of a foundation so it snaps. I'll press H to lock it in place, and I'll press page down to bring it down to where the level I want it to be. So now this is just a matter of where do I want it to line up. And I think I want the middle barrier there to line up there. So we can click and put it in place. And then the hard part is making sure everything is fine when you line it up. So if I do this, it's going to look bad. So I might have to come back here. And even then, that doesn't work very well. So we'll come this way. And it did curve a little bit, but it's better than what I had before. So we also need this one to do the same thing. And it's too far, which is awful. That is the worst possible outcome. So, as you can see, that didn't work. Now what we can do is we can delete it and try again. But this time I'm going to bring it closer. So maybe I will delete a couple foundations off and try again. It's a trial and error. Kind of just have to get the feeling for it. And now I know the middle barrier also kind of makes it curve weird. So we're going to bump it over a little bit further. So now if we try from here, it still curves weird. But this way, curves just fine. Yep, that's good. Now same here. We'll curve to the back. And we curve without a problem. The tough part is going to be curving this way. Because it's not going to want to curve nicely. You can see it says railroad turns too sharply. That was expected. We do have a solution for that. But that's going to take another step. So let's delete this. The foundation we don't need. We at least have the first step, right? So now we have to figure out where this is going to go. We'll probably follow the line, the coast over there, the edge. So what I like to do is we're going to curve this again. But we're going to go... So I got to set down the 45. We're going to try to go that way. So I'll set this down below. Extend this. And now we get the blueprint. And this is where we're going to switch it to Blueprint Auto Connect. So I pressed R a few times. So if we line it up like this, we click once. Now it is auto connected. You can see it's auto connected like that. So then we drag this out to the end of our foundation like we did before. And then we press H, drop it down to be level. Then I run back to make sure my curve doesn't look funky, which it does. And now I can press my arrow keys to bump it over until it no longer looks funky. And in fact, I can push it as far as I want. And then I also want to make sure I'm not going to interfere with my new building, which I think I am. So we'll push it this way. And that should be okay. We're just going to make sure that our curve looks good. And it does. So we click. And there's our new curve. Oh, we can delete this. Ooh, I almost deleted it with me on it. So this is where we're going to try to connect. Well, that's not what I wanted. We're going to try to connect from here to there. Which we're able to do. We will have to delete some of the barriers. Not a big deal. I'm going to try to line this up as well. This is... Oh, come on. So this is where it needs to be. And it works. Beautiful. So all I gotta do is delete some barriers. Not a big deal. Just changes the blueprint slightly. And there we go. We got a three-way junction over here. And we could set up multiple trains on this train highway, but we don't have the path or block signals yet. That's the whole point of doing this. And now that I'm looking at this, how am I going to get down there? Still. That's going to be the tough one. Because you don't want to put your junctions too close to each other. I probably could put a junction just right off of here anyways. Like this. But that'll be a really difficult ask. So I might do a disconnection here and kind of wrap it around. We'll see. I'm gonna put something together and then I'll show you what I did. Alright, I put something together. All of these have no columns extending to the ground. That's okay for now. But I actually flipped the direction of the train station because I found it easier to come out this way than I did to try to get into over there. And that's what I ended up doing here. So we have a little ramp here, which, by the way, I do have these 1 meter blueprints, and I also have 2 meter blueprint variants of this. And I think they turn out really nice, especially if you have plenty of space. Here wasn't the best, but it does work. And I also created another 3-way junction here. Completely fine. So we'll hop in our train and we'll bring it over there. So yeah, this is what the train's basically gonna have to do. The train is gonna come down the track, and the train's gonna know where to go. So it's gonna look at this junction, it's gonna take a right, and then it's gonna look at the next junction up ahead, it'll take another right, and then we'll come down this ramp here, and it'll stop in the train station, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So at this freight train station, we want to unload. So it'll take everything it can from here and unload it. And now, all we have to do is set this up to drive automatically. So if you press Q, you'll open the train menu. This is exactly where we named the train. We're gonna wanna edit timetable. So we only have 2 train stations here. Those are the 2 train stations we're going to. So we're gonna go to computers, we're gonna go to plastic, hit save changes, and then we turn on self-driving, and the train will handle it from here. Alright, we're approaching the big train roundabout. So the train should just stick to the right on every single decision here. And that's exactly what it's doing. And it's starting to brake now because it realizes it won't be able to slow down fast enough if it doesn't start braking now. And there we go. And now the train will unload. And we'll be good. So we'll watch it unload here. So basically it just does the opposite. It picks this one up and then puts it into the freight station. And there we go. That's pretty sweet. And now, once this is done, once that starts taking off, I can look how much we have in here. We got plenty of plastic. So, what we need to do is create a computer factory. Now, we can only create 1 set, which sucks. I want to create more, but we can only create 1 for now. It is what it is. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll have to upgrade this later. So I'm gonna set up a manufacturer here. We're gonna work backwards. Computer, pretty simple. And then we'll just put an industrial storage in front of it so we always have some. And what we need to do is get 40 plastic here. We also have to get 40 plastic to the circuit boards. So circuit boards should be pretty easy as well. Let's just set up an assembler right there. And we'll set this to circuit board. We need to overclock this to 10 because that's exactly how many we need. So the plastic should be pretty easy. So 40 of them goes here, 40 of them goes there. Cables. We're gonna have to do something with our copper down there. And then we also need copper sheets. So we're gonna need to do something with our copper. I think the easiest thing to do is we're gonna tear down. We're not really gonna tear anything down. We're just gonna leave this side of it alone. Because we have a full storage here of copper sheets, 2-dimensional depot. We're just going to leave that alone. We actually want to delete this miner Mark 1. And we're going to try to get some copper over here. So thankfully, we don't need a whole lot of copper here. So if we work backwards, we need a constructor for this. And this will be our cables. We only need 20 cables per minute. So we can underclock this to 20. And that'll just require 40 wires. That's actually pretty simple as well. So if we do 40 wires, we're going to actually overclock this to 40. The less machines I have to use, the better. And the fact is, we just need Mark 1s because we're not actually taking much faster. And so now we know what we need there. We also need our plastic, which will come in here. And we need sheets, which will come in there. So if we go to copper sheets, did I miss them? Yeah, I did. We need to produce 20. Yeah, we need to produce 20, so we'll actually back this up a little bit because we'll just put down 2 constructors instead of overclocking. I'd prefer to do that. So we'll do copper sheets and copper sheets. And then we'll merge them together. Which is pretty simple. So now we know how much copper we need. We need 20, 40, 60. That's it. So we just need 2 smelters worth of copper. I'll actually set that up over here. So since we only need 60 copper, we just need 2 smelters. Then we can merge them together. Like so. And then we need to split them amongst all of these. What the heck? That's why. I needed the other side. This one. There we go. And then I believe we're probably going to want to pop this over. And we can connect these 2 together. And then the last thing we need is plastic. So we'll send the plastic right down the middle here. We'll have some of it going here. And we'll have some of it go down here. And all we have to do is grab from here. And here comes the plastic. And we'll do Mark 3 just because the train station might fill up a little bit. So we'll make sure we can push out a little bit extra. And that's it for computers. I just have to get the miner to come up here. And then we also need to power all this. Which, if you didn't know, this train station technically carries power with it. So I can grab the power from here. And everything can get powered. Because the train station and the train tracks carry power. So that's pretty cool. Here comes the first copper. We should start seeing copper ingots being produced here. And then those combine together. We should start seeing them make some copper sheets. The belts are super slow. It is what it is. But we're producing 60 per minute, which is exactly what we need. Now we should start producing some copper sheets here pretty soon. There goes the copper sheets. Our first set of copper sheets. And then we should start seeing circuit boards being made here pretty soon. Here goes the circuit boards. Those are now being produced. There's our first set of circuit boards. And this will go into our manufacturer to produce computers. We should start seeing cables being produced. Those should start going into the computer. And we'll start to see computers being made here pretty dang soon. And now we are creating computers. And these are pretty dang slow, let me tell you. And there's our computer. We have 2 computers now. So what we need to do is do the block signal milestone. And then off camera, I can set up a train highway that can take multiple trains. Okay, so tier 6, we have railway signaling. This is what we need. We need 50 computers, 400 steel pipes, and 1,000 copper sheets. Whatever, I have that. I have the 1,000 copper sheets right there. I can grab that. 400 steel pipes is pretty easy, just grab those. And then the computers, that's the only problem child I have. I have 33. That's where I'm at there. That's why we had to create the computer factory, because I do not have computers. Alrighty, we got enough computers. We can submit railway signaling. Thank goodness. Now, we can set up multiple trains on these lines, which means I can bring in resources from all over. Which is what I want to do. I suppose I probably need to give you a quick tutorial on how this works, don't I? Yeah, I probably do, don't I? Okay. Well, first of all, let's get a dimensional depot on top of there. With the Mark III, because that's the fastest it can go. We'll color this accordingly. And now we should see computers right there. Perfect. So, block signals. Pretty easy. It's just computers and steel pipes. Path signals, same exact thing. So, the general gist of a block signal is it blocks trains. It's in the name. It blocks trains from being able to access that certain part of the track if there's another train on it. So block signals, in my opinion, are best used in straightaways because you can allow multiple trains to travel the same track at the same time. So we can grab a block signal here. Our train tracks will light up. They're all red, which means they are all on the same exact signal, basically. It's I don't know what to call it really, but a train on here will see this whole track is open. If I plop down a block signal, nothing happens because we only have one. And you'll see this thing is blinking. It's saying, oh, we got an error, we got an error, we got an error. It says signal loops into itself. Yes, signal is going to loop into itself. You need another one. I'm going to place it on the other side. But the arrows are important. You got to make sure you face them the right way. So all of the ones on this side need to face, so the right side, it needs to face the direction it's going. So on this side, we want to face that way. That's the way we're driving, right? And this train's going to stop because it doesn't see that it can go. That's what a block signal does. It's telling the train, you can't go. There is no way to go. So on this side, we want to go this way because that's the way the train's going to drive. So make sure your arrow's facing the correct way. Once I place this down, that train will be able to go because now it sees that there is no loop. But here's the other thing. We can see that that whole section is red. That means if that train were to enter this section at all, anywhere over here, it will block any other train from coming through. Now we can also see that over here, that whole section is orange, all the way out to the plastic. It is orange. No train can go through here. It is going to block every single train to come through here until that train comes back and clears it. So what you can do is you can take another block signal, and maybe right here we set down another one. Now you see that line became yellow and we have an orange one. So this orange one, if there is no train in here, that block signal will say it is clear to go. And that is exactly what it does. But since this one here, there's a train at our plastic train station, it's on the yellow line, we can't go. So that's the gist of block signals. Path signals are slightly different. Path signals work different. I would say path signals should only be used on intersections. There may be another special use case for it. I don't know what that would be. But they should really only be used on intersections like these. So a path signal needs to go at every entrance point. So the train's going to come this way. We want to place a path signal at the entrance. So this is probably going to say there's an error because it doesn't know what it's trying to calculate the path to. We still have two more entrances on this three-way junction. We have one here. So we're going to place a path signal there. It's still going to throw an error because we haven't put the path signal on the last junction, on the last entrance, and that is right here. It should, in theory, work, but sometimes it doesn't. Don't panic. This happens sometimes. It's saying that we're too close. There's also no block signals here. So if we got to place a block signal at every exit so that we can tell the path signals there is a path that can go to. So here's an exit and here's an exit. So now we see that a path signal works. It's going to stop every train from every direction. So it is saying no go, you can't go. That's fine. This is completely fine. So what a path signal does is and this is the best way I can explain it. When a train enters this section here, it will look in here to see if there's a train. If there is no train, and here we can actually see it pretty well here. So the train's slowing down because that path signal has to determine if there's anything in there. It said, there's nothing in there, you're clear to go. It turned on so the train could go through. That's how that works. If there was a train that entered that system before that train got here, it would have to stop right here until the train within the junction cleared the junction. That is what a path signal does. So just keep this in mind. Path signals for intersections, block signals for straightaways. I hope that makes sense. It is confusing. It really is. So what I can do here is we have another junction. This is probably a good candidate for a path signal. And we're going to put the path signals on every entrance. And then on every exit, we're going to put block signals. Now you got to make sure they're facing the right direction. That's always the most important part. Now that's throwing an error because it's throwing an error. I mean, I'll figure that out eventually. Oh yeah, the block signal's throwing an error because it can't access the path signal because the path signal can't access this over here. And then we still have an issue. So, what's the issue? Well, I can see I put this path signal down backwards. That's not good. You gotta make sure your arrow's facing the right way. Okay, we still got an issue. And this is kind of how you have to work trains. What is the issue? I don't know. Let's look inside the path signal here. What are you saying? Signal loops into itself. Okay, well that's annoying. So sometimes it's too close to each other. So sometimes you just need to back it off and back all of them off. Yeah, it can be quite a nuisance sometimes. But you kind of just have to experiment. I did this because it creates a junction point to which I can place my path signal. And if I delete that, it's now good. It's fine now. All I had to do is back that off a little bit. So make sure you try some of those if you're getting those issues. Sometimes it's literally just back it off. Sometimes it's, I don't have a block signal anywhere. It's finicky. And it's gonna be finicky. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. This will be my last example. Now this one is kind of a tight intersection. So I'm going to automatically assume it'll be way too close. So I'm just going to set the path signal back a little bit. So path signal at every entrance, like we do. And once we get this all set up, you'll see the intersection will change color. Block signal at every exit. And this one we'll put right at the junction, that's fine. So you see that actually split colors, because that's saying we're good. This one should split colors. Now we're good. And the path signals now work. It doesn't need one for here because it doesn't connect anything, but if you're smart, you'll just do it anyway so you don't forget. And there we go. That is the gist of railway signaling. Hope that makes sense. It's trial and error. You will figure it out. I showed you some of the errors that you could run into. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.